intake process. So going over the process of getting a brand new patient of ours. While we were talking, we said that we are going to add in the link, the API link. Again, that link will be something that you can put on your website. So let's say your website is called quantumz.com. On your website, you can have a button that says, click here to become a new patient of ours, become a new client, something to that extent. And then when the patient does click on that link, they are able to enter in their information. So they can put in their, their demographics, they can put in their insurance information, and that way they can be registered as part of the practice. We're still working on that link. We'll have it here very shortly, but that's pretty much one of the intake processes that we'll have is the client will register themselves. If they don't register themselves, it's okay. We can always add them into the software like we saw last week. And we're going to revisit that process as well in the future. Okay, I know there was homework for last week, but I was late in sending out the information, so I'll give you grace. No worries, it's not due today. But we will have to bundle last week's homework with this week's homework. It's not too difficult. You should be able to complete everything in 15 minutes. If you are having any difficulties with it, just reach out to me and I'll help you get it set up or get you on the right track for that homework.
Okay.
But we'll talk about today's homework later, and that's going to be very, very short as well. And we might be able to knock it out today together. Okay, so what we are going to do today is talk about scheduling. So how we can schedule a client, what the scheduler can do, and then, what kind of rights we want for this schedule. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. Okay, so here we are in the dashboard. Again, this is basically the home page of Insync. So when we are on the home page, we'll want to maybe schedule a client. What we'll do to schedule a client is we'll click on the scheduler bookmark. So on the left side of our screen, we have the bookmark bar. Again, this bar is going to be with you wherever you are in Insync for the most part. So once I click on the scheduler icon, it's going to be the calendar with the clock. It's going to bring me to my schedule. Okay. When you sign in for the very first time in Insync, your schedule is going to be blank just like you see here. So if you read the prompt here, it says, please select at least one visit profile and resource to view the list of booked appointments. So the visit profile and the resources are going to be these items here on the left side. So currently, we just have a profile for the implementation specialist and then a profile for Liz and Nkechi as well. So once you do select your profile, you'll be able to see the schedule appropriately. And you only have to do that the very first time you sign into the software. After the first time you sign in, the system's going to auto-remember, okay? All right, so here we are in the schedule. In the schedule, we have a couple different views. So as you can see, right now I'm in the week view. You can see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I can see the implementation specialist. It's highlighted here at the top. They're scheduled for the week. At the top of the screen, I can change my view. So at the top, I have a day view. So if I'm somebody that just rather see my appointments for the day and not see for the whole week, I have this view. Then at the top, I can change it to the week. This is my preferred view, so I can see everybody's or see my whole schedule for the whole week. There's also a global view. What the global view allows you to do, it allows you to compare people's schedules for the day. So if I wanted to see the implementation specialist schedule for today, I'll select the implementation specialist. If I also wanted to see Liz's schedule, I'll select Liz's schedule. So as you can see, I see the implementation specialist, I see Liz. And then if I want to also see Nkechi's schedule, I'll select her name as well. And as you can see, we can compare all three. Right now, they're all blank. There's nothing on the schedule. But if we did have appointments, we'd be able to see who has an opening the soonest or anything like that. All right, there is one more view for a patient view. This allows you to see a patient's appointment. Now, this will only show for individual patient. We won't be able to see all patients on this screen. So if I wanted to see, I guess, test Terrence, if they had any appointments, I can click on Terrence's name, and then I would see any appointments that we see. So if I go to the month view, I can see that Terrence had an appointment on February the 6th. So that's how I can see the appointment view. Any questions so far?
No.
Not on
Okay,
my end.
perfect. Sounds good. All right, excellent. All right, so let's go back to our week view and we'll talk about how we can schedule an appointment. So to schedule an appointment, very simple. All you'll do is just select the slot that you want to open the appointment or book the appointment for. So on the left side, you can see our time. So the first slot would be for 9 a.m. Then the bottom slot, if I go all the way down, will be for 5 p.m. So let's say a client comes in and they want to let us know that, hey, I want an appointment for today, Friday, at your earliest opening. So if I were to see my schedule on Friday, I'm very open. So I'll let the client know, hey, you can come at 10:30. We'll go ahead and have that appointment for you. So I'll go ahead and book the appointment for 10:30. And as you can see, I get a new window that opens up. This is the book appointment window where I'll be able to book an appointment. So in our patient name, I'll go ahead and select that patient that requested the appointment. So I'll type in, let's say, Test Terrence here. So I have Test Terrence, and as you can see, the date and time already selected for me. I don't have to do anything there. So February the 20th already selected, and the time 10:30 already selected. If I selected a time by mistake, maybe I meant to select 11, I can update it here. Same thing with the date. If I meant to select Thursday or maybe select Saturday, I can go ahead and adjust as appropriate. Okay, so now we'll go into the middle column. The middle column is going to be the most important column when we're booking this appointment. So the first option we have that is mandatory is the visit status. What is the status of this appointment? So I'll show you the drop downs here. We have two statuses. We have check-in and we have scheduled. Check-in is if the client is here, they're ready to be seen, we're checking them in. Scheduled is in case the client calls us ahead of time, let us know, hey, I want to have an appointment for this day and time. That's what scheduled is. And that's what we're mostly going to be using whenever we're scheduling clients for future appointments is scheduled. All right, then we have our visit type. It's what type of visit, what type of appointment, what type of encounter is this client here for? So in our drop-down list, here we have a list of different encounters, different visits. Now, the homework for next week will be to let us know which encounters you use. If you use different encounters than what we have here, please let us know. That way we can have your specific encounters. Right now, we just have basic encounters that you might use or you might not use, just depending on how your practice operates. But for the most part, this does capture a lot of appointments, a lot of encounters that mental health practices do like the initial evaluation, a diagnostic assessment, community support, E&M for psychiatry, family psychotherapy, group psychotherapy, medication management, psychotherapy. So if you don't know what list you already use, I recommend just continuing with what Insync has because again, for the most part, it uses all the encounters that most mental health practices do, especially in DC. They use a lot of these visit types already, like community support. Okay, but again, that'll be homework for not this week, next week to outline which visit types you have. So just keep that in the back of your mind. If you're, doing some research and you're like, hey, what services, what encounters, what appointments are we doing? Know that that is information we'll need here pretty
Okay,
shortly. For test
Mr.
tiers,
Claro, I have
yes,
two
questions.
questions for you. Number one, let's assume that
Give
we
me.
are trying to set a schedule for, let's say, a patient in quote called John. My assumption is that John must already have been in the system. Is that correct? Okay. My
Exactly. Yes, the
second
patient has
follow-up
to be in the system.
question is, let's assume that we had already a meeting with, let's say, Mary, and we want therefore to schedule a meeting for John. Is there a possibility of seeing everybody's calendar so that it shouldn't be like a conflict? For example, in Teams, you can pull everybody's calendar and you know that, okay, if I have to schedule a meeting at this moment, this person is already looking for this time. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, are you talking for providers or for
Let's say for
patients?
patients.
For patients. So are you asking if patient Mary is scheduled with yourself and then you also want to schedule them with me for a different kind of appointment? Is that your
I mean, the
question
goal here
or?
is to find out when we are doing scheduling, is it possible to have an overview or a panel that lets you to see that, hey, this particular time that you want to schedule this appointment, somebody already was scheduled for this time, so that it shouldn't be like a conflict of time and so on. Because things will always show you, it might bring out that
Exactly.
position that, hey, from this time to this time is already booked out, or this person is calendar is not open, something of this nature.
Yes, yeah, I'll show you that here in just a second. As soon as I book this appointment, I'll be able to show you how that view looks.
Okay,
But yes, we
thank you.
do have something for that. Of course. Okay, so for the visit type, this appointment that I'm going to do for Tess Terrence, I'm going to make it the diagnostic assessment, the very first appointment that we would typically do. So I'll book that appointment. As you can see, it's defaulted to 60 minutes. I can change the default time if necessary. Maybe I know that this client likes to take their time. Maybe they are, a slow talker or something like that. And I already know it's going to be maybe 75 minutes. I can go ahead and adjust the time as necessary. The patient location, this will be part of the homework today, is if you have any rooms that you have to book out to make sure that you don't double book, that's what the patient location is for. Again, it's only if you have rooms or offices that you need to book to make sure nobody double books. That's what patient location is for. Most of the time, it's not needed. So again, we'll revisit this on our homework. Referring provider is in case the provider or in case the client was referred by somebody else and we enter that information in the demographics, we'll have that in the referring provider field. Then the place of service code, this is going to pull based off the visit type. So since we selected diagnostic assessment, we have that as an office appointment. I can always change it if I need to. But if I were to select the telehealth option, do we have any telehealth? Yes. If I select E&M new patient telehealth, this is a telehealth option. You're going to see the place of service code is already a telehealth place of service code. Again, I can change it if necessary, but for the most part, that place of service code will be tied directly to that visit type. The next two options are for the insurance. So we have a self-pay button and a billable button. Self-pay is in case the client does not have insurance, which in this case, Tess Terrence does not have insurance. As you can see, we can't select the primary, secondary, or tertiary. So the client does have to pay out of pocket, so a self-pay. And then billable is in case this appointment will be billable or non-billable. For the most part, most of our appointments will be billable. One of the last items here is the procedure code. So this is going to be the CPT code or the billing code attached to the visit. Again, same thing with the place of service. This gets tied based off the visit type. So if I were to select a different visit type, like family psychotherapy, we'll have a different procedure code, a 90847 code, because that's the code that will be paid for that visit type. So again, with the procedure codes, you don't have to worry about that too much. They all get tied based off the selection of the visit type. The last thing on the screen is for comments. If you want to put a comment on this appointment, that way whoever is looking at this appointment can see something that's pertinent to this appointment. You can go ahead and put that in the comments. So maybe I'll put Terrence is always 5 minutes early. I can go ahead and do something. All right. Any questions on booking this appointment screen or on booking an appointment? No? All right, sounds good. So I'm going to book this appointment. Now I'm going to show you how the view looks so we can compare people's schedules. So as I can see, I have Tess Terrence scheduled from 10:30 until 11 or 11:30. Now, if I wanted to compare schedules, I would go to the global view. At the top of the screen, I have that global view. So if I click on global view, I can see implementation specialist is open from 8:30 to 10:30, but they have a block from 10:30 to 11:30, then open after that. But for Lizette, she's open all day. And then for Getchy as well, they're open all day. Is this what you're asking as far as like the view to see who's available?
Yeah, something of this kind.
Exactly. I mean, right now we don't have much information, but as you start to see more clients, you'll start to see how this fills up and where the availability is based off the blank
But I will
spaces.
assume that what you are showing right now are people that have been scheduled, whereby you can use the global option right there to have an overview of those
Mhm.
that are scheduled. Is that correct?
Of just the people, of
Yes, the
like the
patients that have been
patients.
scheduled already.
This would be that view. You would only be able to see that view on a day view or a week view. You wouldn't be able to see just like all of patients scheduled on the calendar. You'd have to run a report for that. There's no like calendar view for all patients. There's only calendar views for
Okay, can
provider
you go to
schedules.
the week?
Does that make sense?
We have day, week, global.
Yeah.
Yes, let's see.
Mhm. Yeah, so if you want to compare, yeah, let me show you that here. So I'll compare the implementation specialist and Liz. Since the implementation specialist we have Monday through Friday, I have to scroll to the right to see Liz. So, sorry. So scroll to the right. So as you can see, the left side implementation specialist, if I keep scrolling, then we'll have Liz and we can
Mhm.
see what's available. So yeah, we can have like a global view on the week view as well.
Okay then, thank you very much. I'll proceed.
Yeah, for sure. Now this is just a view. We can run a couple reports as well, but what's easiest is just to use these views. But I'll show you a quick report that we can run as well to see who's the most available. And that is going to be using our, which one is it? Our resource availability. So this icon here, the third icon from the right. I'll click it one more time, sorry. So this icon on the top right, this will allow you to run a report or a list to see who's available the soonest or based off specific filters that you have. So if we want to run it for everybody to see what's the next soonest appointment, I'll just click or I need one facility and one resource. And we'll select our resource. We'll select all. Okay, so this is going to show you the most available person or the person that's available the soonest. As you can see on 8:30 today, we are available. So this is one way that you can run a report. You can see the implementation specialist. Then for Liz, but again, I think it's just easy to use the calendar, to use the schedule, because it's a visual cue as opposed to a list. Um, all right, so that is booking an appointment. Any questions there? No? All right. What we're going to talk about now is what we can do with this appointment now that it is booked. So once you have a booked appointment, let me go to the day view, might be a better view. Once we have an appointment booked, we can go ahead and do a couple items with that appointment. So with every appointment, if you need to make any change, if you need to check in the client, cancel the appointment, you would click on the appointment slot and it'll open up what we call our shortcut. So in our shortcut, as you can see, we have a lot of different options. We can see the details of the visit. So if I click on visit details, this is going to give us a breakdown on everything regarding the visit. So who scheduled the visit, what was the last update on the visit, a patient balance, what is the client's address, who booked it, at what time was it booked, items like that. Other items on the shortcut that are important are the patient demographics. So in the patient demographics, you can go inside of the patient's information and make updates to their insurance, updates to their information. You can also go to the client's face sheet. The face sheet is the client's chart. So, everything that we chart for the client will be able to see using the face sheet. So I have a quick shortcut there. I have a shortcut to check in and start this appointment. So that's what check in and start encounters. We have a way to change the status. So right now we had the status as scheduled for the client, meaning we booked it for a future appointment. It's on the schedule. So we have that status as scheduled. But if the client is here, we can go ahead and update the client to be checked in. That way we're ready to see the client. We're ready to start this appointment. There's the option of check out. So whenever the client is completed with their appointment, we can check them out. Checkout isn't really necessarily needed. We do have a rule in the software whenever we complete a note that the client is automatically checked out. So we don't have to do this process. but it's still in here just in case it is needed. Scheduled is what we're seeing currently, that we have this appointment for a future appointment. We're waiting for the client to arrive. So they're not checked in yet, but it is scheduled for our appointment. Then the last two options we have are no-show and cancel. So no-show, of course, is if the client hasn't came in, maybe it's 10:40 already. The appointment was for 10:30. It's been 10 minutes. The client's still not here. We'll probably mark this client as no-show, that they did not show up for their appointment. And then cancel is in case the client has called and let us know that, hey, I can't make it today, or hey, I can't make it for my appointment. Can we please cancel it? I can go ahead and cancel that appointment. So which is what I'm going to do right now to show you what happens. So once I click cancel, it's going to ask for a reason to cancel this appointment. I don't have to put a reason. It's just optional. If you want this to be mandatory, I can make this mandatory as well. But for right now, I'll just put that the reason is test. And we'll click save. Okay, so as you see, my appointment is now canceled, and I have a little marker on the top of my appointment time at 10:30. The reason for this is because now that the client has canceled their appointment, now the schedule is available to put another appointment at this time slot. If you ever need to see what was canceled, you can click on the little bullet point, and it's going to open up the details. It's going to let you know it was test Terrence that was scheduled, and then they were canceled by the implementation specialist. And it's going to let you know when that cancellation happened. So at 2:20, at 10:24 a.m., and then the reason as well. Okay, so let me uncancel this appointment if I can. I think I should be able to. I might not be able to make this a new appointment. So what I'll do is I'll just book a new appointment. So say 10:30. I'll do it again for test. I'll say that they are scheduled. Their visit type is for that diagnostic assessment, and we'll book our appointment. Okay, the bullet point will still be there, as you can see, just letting you know there was a canceled appointment at this time, but now we have a new appointment. And then at the top of the screen as well, where it says scheduler, it'll let you know total canceled appointments in case you had more than one cancellation for the day. It'll keep a tally. And if you click on the hyperlink, it'll give you a breakdown of all those canceled appointments. Okay, so now let's talk about blocking slots. So let's say that you are somebody that likes to take lunch at noon. You don't like to have appointments set up at noon. What you can do is you can set up blocks for the appointment. To set up blocks for your appointments, you will go ahead and click on this red circle that's at the top of the screen. So I'll highlight it here. Once you click on that red circle, it's going to open up a window where you can start booking your slots. I like using the advanced feature. So at the top, you'll see there's two options, selected slots and advanced. I use advanced. I feel like it's more intuitive to use. So here we'll go ahead and say, who do we want to block this slot for? We can make it for more than just one person. Maybe we want to make this like a team block where it's like a team meeting or something like that. We can go ahead and set up this block for the whole team. I'm just going to do it for myself, the implementation specialist. And then we can choose where we're going to block this appointment from. So let's say it's from noon to 1 p.m. So I'll go ahead and select those options, 12 to 1. And then there are other options I can do in case this is going to be a longer block. If I wanted to block the whole day, I can click block whole day. If I wanted to block from noon until the rest of the day, I'll select block rest of the day. Or if I wanted to block everything except appointments that are already booked, I can click block whole day except book slots. Then on the right side, we can make this appointment recurring. So again, if this is something like lunch and you want it to be every single day that we have this block from 12 to 1, we have this ability. So I'll make my recurrence daily, but I can also make it weekly, monthly, or yearly, just depending on how we want to set up the block. I'll make it for every day, but you can do it like every other day, every third day, every fourth day, what have you. And then the range of the recurrence. So with these blocks, we can only do them for 12 months at a time. So we can go ahead and select the start date. When do we want this block to start? I'll say today. And then when do we want it to end? Do we want it to end on a certain date on the calendar? Or do we want it to end after 5 blocks? You can go ahead and set it up as so. So I'll go ahead and say 5, and I'll say the beginning of this week. Then I could put a reason for the block. I'll go ahead and put that it is lunchtime. And I can also put a color. At the top of the screen, I have the ability to make it a specific color. I'll make it red. Once I click save, it's going to go ahead and make this block. Excuse me. So yeah, that is making blocks. Any questions there?
I'm just not just about since I've not been used to about farming.
No? Okay, perfect. All right, so now that we have a block, what this means is I cannot put anything on my calendar at this time unless I unblock this time. So to unblock the time, just select on the slot. Then you'll see they have the option to unblock,
That
edit,
reminds
and
more
then
is
put a
different for
reason for
down
the
for
block.
long for the program.
Okay, so that is blocking appointments. That's scheduling appointments. Let's see what else. We can also create watermarks on the calendar. So let me show you what watermarks are. They're useful, but not necessarily needed to be done. What watermarks are, it allows you to basically color code your schedule. So let's say that you're somebody that works Monday through Thursday in office, but then on Fridays you work from home. So you're only going to be doing telehealth appointments. We can go
They
ahead
ask me
and
about
color
program,
code
get
your calendar to reflect that and also set restrictions to reflect that as well. So let's go ahead and create a watermark. So to create a watermark, at the top of the screen, we have a icon that looks like a calendar with a pencil. It's the third icon from the right. If I click on that icon, it'll open up a window to add in watermarks. So I'll go ahead and create a watermark. I'll first select my profile. I'll select the implementation specialist and then the start date. When do we want this to start? So I'll say we want this to start
That's
for
the one
next
not
week
talking.
on the 23rd. And the end date,
A
when do
parents
I
look
want
at
this
this,
watermark
they
to
call you.
end? I'll go
So
ahead and say until March 27th. Now it's asking what color do you want this slot to be? So this is how we color code. I'll say we want it to be this nice light blue there. Now we'll go ahead and select the time slot. So I'll say for this instance, this watermark will be for telehealth only, where we only do telehealth type of appointments on Fridays. So I'll say this is going to be starting the beginning of my day, which is at 8:30 a.m. until the end of my day, which is at 5 p.m. So I selected my start time, my end time. The frequency, how often do we want this to happen? I want this to happen every single week. So we'll go ahead and say the frequency weekly, but I can't do daily, monthly, or yearly. Then again, every week or every other week, every third week, however you want to set it up, you can set it up as appropriate. And then which days do you want this watermark to fall on? So I said Friday, but if you want it to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you can do that as well. Then the watermark. This is going to be the title. I'll go ahead and say that this is telehealth as the title. And then the visit type. This visit type will set the restriction. So again, if I only want telehealth appointments to be scheduled, I'll go ahead and mark only telehealth options. So I'll look for all of my telehealth options and select them. So as you can see, only the telehealth initial eval, care coordination, E&M, psychotherapies are selected, but all of the ones that are not telehealth, they're not marked. Meaning whenever I go on Friday between 8:30 and 5 p.m., the only options I can schedule for are going to be these options selected. So I'm going to click save here, and then we're going to see what this looks like. So again, this is going to be starting for next week. So once I close out of here, we're not going to see it on this first screen because this is the current week. I set this watermark to be for next week. So I'm going to go into next week's schedule. So I'm going to click my arrows, or I can click the calendar. And as you can see, we have our telehealth block from 8:30 till 5. Now, again, if I'm trying to schedule an appointment for 9 a.m. on that Friday, I'll go ahead, select my client. So let's say it's for Tess Terrence again. I'll select my visit status. I'll say that this is for scheduled. And then the visit type, as you can see here, I can only select the telehealth options. I do not have the option to select in person. Any questions on watermarks? No. All right, sounds good. Again, with watermarks, it's not necessary to use, but it does help people coordinate their schedules better. So if you are setting up watermarks down the line and if you need any help, feel free to reach out to me and I'll go ahead and help you out as where I can. Okay, so that was pretty much it for everything to show today. What we're going to go over now is the homework for today, and we'll probably be able to complete this together. All right, so let me pull up the homework and share my screen. Okay, so for this week, the homework is very simple. We only have 2 sheets. We have our location hours, so it's just to see how you want the schedule to be set up. And then we have our resources in case you have any rooms that need to be booked. So let's start off on the location hours. Let's put some headings on here. Okay, so with this first portion, the location hours, this is strictly for the calendar or for the scheduler. It doesn't mean that if you do from 8 to 5, it doesn't mean you can't use the software past 5 p.m. or before 8 a.m. It just means that appointments are only allowed from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So with that in mind, what were you expecting or what did you want your appointment time window to be? What's the earliest time and what's the latest time?
Um, 8 is the earliest time for sure.
8, all
I
right,
think latest should be 6.
6 p.m.
Yes.
Okay, so say 8 to 6. Now, is this Monday through Sunday or just Monday through Friday?
Okay, let me ask this question, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you say appointment time, is it like appointment to the office?
Correct. Yeah, appointments to the
Oh,
office, exactly.
okay, appointment to the office.
Right.
Yeah, between office always open, let's say from 9.
9.
Yes. From 9, I can say 9 to 5, 9 to 6, um, Monday through Friday. And then sometimes Saturday, it might be open up to 3.
Up to 3. 9 a.m. to 3?
Yes. But
Okay,
I don't
perfect.
think it's going to be like every Saturday. So I don't know if I should even put that there.
Gotcha. So I'll give you this option as well. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, what I know is most of the DBH offices are 9 to 5, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays, that's when you go more hours up to
Okay.
7 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think, sorry, I think also they open on Saturday because some
Yeah,
of them
they
also
open on
comes on
Saturday
Saturday.
up to 2 or
In
3.
fact, they make it every Saturday. It depends.
Gotcha. So
Okay.
Monday,
Mhm.
Wednesday, Friday, 9 to 6. Tuesday, Thursday, 9 to 7. And then Saturday, 9 to 3.
No, 9 to 5, right,
9
Sushi?
to 5. Saturday.
Yeah, 9 to 5.
On
No,
Saturday.
9 to 5
Oh,
for
no, 9 to
Monday.
5
Oh,
Monday,
Monday. Gotcha.
Wednesday, and Friday.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so that's how we'll set the schedule. Now, there is another option we can do. We have an option called unavailable hours. So what unavailable hours are, they are time slots that can be booked by anybody on the software. So your front desk, your providers, your clinicians, they can book those appointments on the unavailable time. But the clients will never be able to see that time on the portal. They won't ever be able to request between those unavailable times. Now, what I like to say is maybe there are some providers, there are some clinicians that maybe they do like to see the client a little earlier than 9. So we can give that, leeway of being open or having the calendar open from 7 a.m. Till 9 a.m. as unavailable, if that makes sense. So we can have basically time that can be scheduled by the provider, by the front desk, but it's not time that can be scheduled by the client. Again, that's just an option, but not sure if that's something that you were interested in.
That's true.
We'll leave it for now. If you
Yeah,
have any
just leave it for
questions,
now. I don't know
yeah.
what to.
Yeah, while we play around with it, while we're testing, if we need to make changes, we can definitely make changes. But that's how
Okay.
we'll set it up for now. Okay, so now there are a couple additional questions. The first one is multi-facility view in one scheduler. You only have one facility, but I always turn this on anyways. It's a good thing to have on. It just allows you, again, to see all your schedules off of when you're signed in a different facility. Do you want clients to schedule appointments? This shouldn't be scheduled. It should be a request appointments. So do you want clients to be able to request appointments through the portal?
You can just put it there, but 99% of them wouldn't use it.
Gotcha. All right, we'll say yes for now then. Send alert or message when you cancel an appointment. Do you want there to be like an alert if you do click cancel on the scheduler, where the client
That's
gets an
fine.
email like, hey, your appointment's been canceled? All right, we'll say yes. Next one, do you schedule appointments outside of the scheduled hours? That's what we kind of talked about with the unavailable hours. We'll leave this blank for right now, but we can revisit if we need to. Show alternate name on booked appointments. So in case the client has an alternate name, let's say you have a client named Will Smith, and then on their insurance, their name is Will Smith, but they have an alternate name called Bobby, and they don't like to be called Will Smith. Do you want the alternate name to show up on the schedule, or do you want the legal name to show up on the schedule?
No, the legal name.
Legal
What
name,
they
okay.
are called by, yes.
Okay, perfect. And then documentation for no-shows and for cancellations. So if a client does no-show your an appointment, or if they cancel an appointment, do you bill the client, or do you just need to record that they
No.
no-showed, that they canceled? Gotcha. You do not bill
So
the
she said
client.
no, right? Don't
Yeah,
bill.
no, we don't build them.
Okay,
Don't
perfect.
bill.
Sounds good. All right, so we'll say no to that as well. All right, the last tab is for the resources. So do you currently have office spaces or rooms that you have to book out to make sure it doesn't get double booked?
No.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we are done for the homework this week. So yeah, no homework for week 2. We still have the week 1 homework to do, which I'll pull up. Again, we'll get a refresher on this. Shared folder. And then we'll go to our internal form, our workbooks. Discovering configuration. All right, so the intake, there we go. Okay, so this is the homework from last week. Again, this is for those forms. So again, just please review our forms, see which ones you do want to use, which ones you don't want to use. The ones that you do want to use, just place an X, and we'll go ahead and have those set up. For dynamic forms, we're not going to be doing that one, so we can delete here. And so for the second sheet, the assessment tools, these are the assessments that are built into Insync that are free to use. So if there are any that you would like to use, just place an X on them. The first column is to use them with the clinician, where the clinician completes these assessments. The second column is if you want to send it to the client's portal, so the client can complete it on their own through the patient portal. So yeah.
Sushi, please, can you this one I'm not too sure. Do you have an idea?
We can turn them all on.
You
that
can
way
turn you can turn them all on, and
Okay.
the providers will choose which one they want based on
Exactly.
the
Okay.
encounters.
Yeah, that's perfect to do as
Okay.
well. All right, so we'll turn them all on. We'll give the ability to send them all out. Doesn't mean they all will be sent out. But yeah, for the default forms, then that'll be the only homework. Just see which forms you like, which ones you don't like. That way we can set those
We
up.
can just do that now, right, Sushi?
Yeah. Do you want to?
Yeah, so you can take all the forms except the credit card authorization. We don't need it because we don't. You just put them all in because we
Gotcha.
won't use them.
Okay. Well, so the purpose of me turning these all on is because we're going to create a packet. The client will receive this packet to Whenever
Okay.
whenever they're a brand new client, they'll receive the packet.
Okay, so I believe let's take it offline. We'll decide. We'll
Yeah,
check on it and decide. Yeah.
sounds good. To see what these forms are, we do have them in the SharePoint. So I'll send this in the follow-up email as well, where you can access this. But in our SharePoint, if we go to the shared folder, it'll be the folder titled Insync by Qualifax Default Forms. So I'll select that folder. And then here you're going to see all the forms. So if you wanted to see what the client rights and responsibilities forms looks like, just click on client rights and responsibilities, and it's going to show you that form here.
Okay, and where to sign and all that. Okay.
Yeah, at the bottom we have like the signature place as well. So yeah, again, for the only homework for this week then will be this default form sheet, just to put an X on which forms you want us to set up for that new client packet. Alrighty, while you're filling this out, if you have any questions on it, just let me know, and I can help direct you in the appropriate direction. Next week we will be going over clinical, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check to see just to be sure. So next week in our workbooks and discovering configuration, number 4 would be clinical. So that's what we're going to be going over next week, is the clinical side. So yeah, if you have any questions before then, let me know. Does this time still work for next week, Friday at 10 a.m.?
Yes. And under
Perfect.
clinicals, what are we going to be doing?
Yes, so we're going to go over your clinical documents. I'll show you the homework here as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to go ask how you want your co-signature workflow to be. So if you have like interns or people that need to have their notes signed off on, we'll go over this process. We'll also go over the documentation that needs to be collected in like an initial assessment and a follow-up appointment, a community support appointment, items like that will go inside the actual documentation.
Okay. And I have a question. When you had I don't know if you said that is something that I should do a research and get back to you. When I was looking at the services that we need to provide, you say I should look at those and get back to you, right? Those that need to be included.
Yeah, so the list of services, if you have a unique list, let us know. I will send you in an email the services that we currently have, that we already have that on file. If you need to add on to that or if you need to remove from that, we can go ahead and do it based off the list. So I can
Because I
send
didn't
that in
see
a separate email.
RSS there, so.
Which
Okay.
one? Yeah, if we don't have that on our list, then let us know that we need to add it onto the list, but we'll need a couple of information.
Oh, okay, got it.
All right. Again, if you have any questions before we meet next week, just let me know. But
Yes,
I appreciate your time.
sorry,
Yes.
I have a light observation. So when you were talking about the timing, you mean the time of opening the office or the encounter?
The office.
Okay, but the
Yes.
encounter will not be by 9 because sometimes people may be working from home. So that was why I want to bring it up.
Gotcha.
No, it's the office hours.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Like people can sign in before, they can sign in at midnight, at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. That's no problem. It's just as far as appointments with clients goes. Exactly. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Again, sounds good. If there are any questions before next week, feel free to reach out to me. And again, we'll meet next week for our clinical documentation. All right, everyone. I appreciate your time. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk again
Thank you
next
so
week.
for your time.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.